Hello, Corey here. Thank you for joining me in this video. I am posting this video on my two YouTube channels. On my Box Scholar YouTube channel, which is music and piano. I know this doesn't have anything to do with music or piano, but my subscribers want to know about me and what I'm up to. And so I want to let everyone know what I'm up to and how my health is going. And I am also posting this video on my Health and Fitness After 50 website, or YouTube channel, sorry. And this is another YouTube channel that I began last year just to sort of share my approach to exercise and diet and things related to health. So thank you for joining me. This is a really exciting video because I'm now at my 1-year anniversary. Some of you might know or remember about a year ago, I went on an exercise program. And before that, I just exercised sporadically and not a whole lot. I mean, I've gone through phases in my life where I've done a lot of exercises of various sorts. I used to be a marathon runner in my very early days. Then in my mid-30s, I started lifting heavy weights and got really bulky and also very kind of fat along the way. And then I toned down in my 40s. I was on a yoga phase for a few years, did yoga. I slimmed down. I actually became, for 1 year, I became a raw food vegan. I was actually sort of 90% vegan or so, or 90% plant-based. It wasn't even called plant-based then, but I was mostly plant-based, 90%, and raw food vegan for 1 year. This was like about in my early 40s. And last year I turned 60, and so I finally came to the realization that I need to really do something that's final, something that will really propel me to the next level of fitness and turn my dad bod into a more of a healthy body, you know. So I no longer have a dad bod, thank God, but I transformed my dad bod into a better bod, whatever you want to call it, in 1 year. And this was through exercise and diet. What else could it be? And my exercise of choice for most of the year, for about 6 months, was gymnastics rings. I focus on that on my Health and Fitness After 50 YouTube channel. I also do a lot of body weight exercises, and I'm on the course now to focusing more on body weight exercises and gymnastics things rather than just weights and sets and reps, the traditional kind of way of working out. So I'm very I mix things up all the time. I never keep my exact same routine. I don't do the same routine every day. You know, I try to mix things up and keep things interesting, because one of the things I found when I was going to the gym, by the way, I don't go to the gym anymore. This is all from home. And I'll show you my picture in a second, but I remember in the beginning of my exercise in March of 2023, I started to go to the gym. I went to the gym for about 2 or 3 months and did traditional weights and, 3 sets of 10 or whatever. And, I got tired of that. I got tired of just always going to the gym and always doing the same exercises, and I wanted to mix it up. So I bought a pull-up bar and I got some gymnastics rings, and I sort of had fun, messed around a little bit, had fun with various types of exercises, with suspension training with my rings, and all sorts of things. And now it's a year later, and I'm a year fitter. And if you're interested in this, I mean, you might not even be interested in this, but if you're interested in this, you can click on the link below and go to my website and see my little story, and I have photos there. One of the things I did over this last year that really helped, and I think will help you if you're on the same kind of journey, is to take photos. I'm serious. I am serious about this. Take photos. See if you can take just one simple photo, just a front photo, once a week. That's all you have to do. One photo once a week. I did that for a whole entire year. I also weighed myself every single day for probably a good 6 or 7 months, or maybe even 8 months. And then after that, around the last few months of this 12-month program, I started to just weigh myself one time a week, and that was when I did my photos. So what I do is to track my progress, or if I'm going in the other direction, if I don't have any progress, to see, to improve my results. I take a photo every Tuesday, and I don't know why Tuesday, I just like Tuesdays. So I take a photo every Tuesday, I weigh myself in the morning before I eat anything, and I keep track of that on my website so I can see my progress throughout the months and throughout the whole year, and hopefully I'll be doing this longer, throughout the years, with an S, plural, years. So I've only been doing this 1 year. Diet and exercise. I've been making sure I eat good food. I mean, I do cheat. I like chocolate, I like sweets, I like cake, I like ice cream, but I try to limit those things. And like normal people, I do binge sometimes. I go overzealous on the chocolate, or eat, have a Pop-Tart or two, for God's sake, for God forbid, a Pop-Tart. So I do cheat from time to time, but it doesn't derail me. So one thing I learned is not to get so obsessed about my diet. I remember that in the beginning, I did mostly the carnivore diet, a really keto carnivore style diet. And I have a video on that. It's a pretty popular video. You can read why I no longer do the carnivore diet. And so in the beginning of this exercise phase, I was doing the carnivore / keto diet for about up to the first, I'd say 4 months or so of my exercise program. I had been doing it before that. So I started my exercise program, when I began, I was 182.5 pounds, which was pretty good, because a few months before that, or just a couple months before that, I was over 200 pounds. I was around 205. And by the way, my very heaviest in 2017, I was 245. Right? I'm 5'7". I was 245 in 2017. So over those past like 7 years or so, I've been just toning down a little, cutting off the weight. And now this last year, I've been officially on my exercise program and officially counting my calories and tracking my macros and all of that stuff. And this is the result. So the photo on the left is when I started my exercise program. It was March 26, 2023. I was 182.5 pounds. I weigh myself with a very accurate scale at Publix supermarket. It's a great scale. I don't trust bathroom scales, so I do not use bathroom scales. I only use heavy duty scales like at grocery stores. So these weights are very, very accurate. So I was 182.5. I had I was in, I think, relatively good shape for a 60-year-old. Okay, bear in mind I was 60 in the left photo, and it's not bad, but it's not anything I want. I want better than that. I don't want a dad bod. I want to be athletic. I want to do like gymnastics things, and mostly I want to do body weight type things. So that's my goal right now. That's where I'm heading towards right now. But over the year, I fluctuated. So I started at 182.5 with sort of a dad bod, more fat than I wanted. I was probably a good, I'd say at least 20% fat, maybe 22% fat. I'm estimating in the left photo, maybe 20, I'll say 20% fat. And then through the year, actually, I went down in weight. So actually, from March until like say July, I took off more pounds. The lightest I got was like 175. I looked great for 175, but I was thinner than I wanted to be. I wanted more muscle, and I was on my way to being more like a runner. I was doing a lot of aerobics and some running, and I didn't really want the runner look anymore because I was a runner back in my very early days, and I didn't want that skinny runner look. I wanted to be fit and muscular with less fat, but not bulky. So that's why I'm moving away from just doing traditional weights in the gym, because I don't like that pumped up, bulky look, but I like more of a streamlined, athletic look. And so you can see the photo on the right, I was 186. So by the way, my top weight this year was 191. So I started at 182, and then I gradually worked myself down to 175. I was sort of just cutting, and this was when I also was doing keto carnivore. So I wasn't eating a lot of carbs. I got down to 175. I looked great. I was slim. I looked in really great shape, but I wanted more muscle. So I had to bulk up a little bit. So from, I'd say around July or August, up through, say, December or January, I'd say like January or so, I basically just kind of bulked up, or did what I thought would be more of like a lean bulk. And so over those months, the course of those 6 months or so, I put on more weight. I became 191, and I actually felt like I was in great shape when I was 191. So this was not a fat 191, but it was an in shape 191. But then I came to the realization, I want to get leaner than this, and I want to be able to do more pull-ups and bar dips and things. So I figured, well, I got to get down now. So I went on a cutting phase again. And my goal over the last couple months to my year anniversary was, actually my goal was to hit my exact weight, 182 or 182.5. But I wasn't able to do that quite. I made it to 186. So I'm about 4 pounds heavier, not a whole lot of difference in weight per se, but a huge difference in body composition. I lost a lot of fat along the way, and I gained muscle. So I gained muscle and lost fat over the course of the 12-month period. Now, I don't think that losing fat and gaining muscle was done at the same rate of speed over the whole year. There were certain, it goes in little microcycles, a couple months of more cutting, or in a couple months maintaining, and maybe a couple months of maybe cutting a little bit. So it fluctuates. It fluctuates throughout the whole year. But once again, my goal was, after all that fluctuation, after reaching my goal, my top weight of 191, I wanted to get back to 182, but was only able to get to 186. Anyway, it's not just about the weight, but it's about the body composition. This is why it's very important that you take photos so you can assess your progress. Don't be scared. Also, don't be scared of scales. Learn to weigh yourself at least once a week. I think in the early period of exercising or dieting, it's good to weigh yourself every day, so you get so you get an idea of just what, how much food you're taking in, how much you're able to take in without, putting on a couple pounds or whatever. So weighing yourself every day in the beginning really helps with that, monitoring your caloric intake. And so you learn from doing. Also, another thing I learned through this year, this is a really a year that I learned a lot. I learned how to count calories. And I learned how to count calories very accurately, actually. So the way you do this is you go to an app like Chronometer, for example, which I use. It's free. And for probably I'd say a good 4 months, 3 or 4 months, I religiously tracked everything that I ate. I don't think I tracked snacks and stuff, but I was pretty close to, you know, tracking almost everything I ate. And I could see trends, and I could see sort of things that happened with what I was eating and how my body was becoming. And it was very interesting that I learned how to count calories. So right now, I can actually eat meals. I can eat a full day of meals, and I've learned how to calculate in my head how many calories I've eaten. And I get very accurate actually. I test myself. So, like the other day, I estimated that I ate like 1,000 calories. It was like midday or so, and I was saying, okay, I'm going to test myself. I ate like a couple meals and a snack or something. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to test myself to see how well I can count calories. So I said, okay, I think I calculated it all out in my head, and I thought, I think I ate 1,000 calories. So 1,000 calories was my guess. Well, what do you know? I went to Chronometer. I put in everything I ate in the right proportions. I ate 1,011 calories. I was only 11 calories off from my estimation. And I've done this a couple times, and every time I estimate my calories, I can get it within 50 calories. And that's really good, because if you learn how to use Chronometer, you don't have to always use it. You just use it for a few months, learn how to use it, learn how many calories are in the food and in the proportions of food you eat usually. And you know, you form typical meals. Like I have my typical meals that have so many calories. Like I might have a 600 calorie meal. I might have a 400 calorie meal if I'm not so hungry. I might have more of a 300 calorie snack or something like that. And so you can learn how to count your calories very accurately without having to track them in an app all the time. You can just walk around and do this in your head. And so I've learned through this year how to track calories in my head without using an app. So I don't have any apps. I don't use any apps. I don't use any watches or anything. And this is my result. And no gym. I only went to the gym for like about the first 3 months, and I quit going, and I just worked out at home. And I don't do the same thing every day. I experiment with things. I try to mix things up and make things fun. I have a couple really good books. I bought one on isometrics and one on body weight exercises, and I've recently started using those and learning from the books that I bought. And you know, I'm a sort of a do-it-yourself type guy when it comes to exercise. I'm really not really into big gyms and everybody around. You know, it seems like nowadays, one thing that bothers me about gyms is everyone wants to show off now. You know, it's just like you go on social media like TikTok or Instagram or whatever, or YouTube, and everyone is just, especially, you know, they're younger. Everybody's younger. So, you know, I'm 61 now. But everyone, you know, everybody who's 20 or 30 something is showing off, you know, showing off how much they can deadlift or bench press or squat. And, you know, it's become so annoying. I don't really care. You know, I don't care how much I can deadlift. I don't care how much I can squat. In fact, I haven't even deadlift for a whole entire year. I haven't squatted with barbells for a whole year. I do squats and I do step-ups and things at home, but I don't use traditional barbells. I do have some dumbbells I use. I have a weight vest also. But I don't do all those traditional lifts. And one of the things that bothers me about gyms and social media is, you know, if I'm scrolling through, say, you know, Facebook or YouTube or something, you know, it's just one ego person after another, always in their 20s and 30s. They always think they're tough. They always think they're bad. They always think they can lift so much more than everybody else. They always think they have great bodies. Yeah, wait until they're 60 like me and see what they can do. Let's see if they can still do this when they're 60. So another thing I learned in addition to counting calories in my head without any apps is how to rest, how to know when to rest. Because the way I exercise is I don't plan it from day to day. I just go by the way I feel. So if I wake up in the morning and I'm pretty sore, let's say the day before I did a bunch of pull-up negatives and a bunch of bar dip negatives and a bunch of step-ups or something, and I'm like achy all over. You know, my legs are kind of sore all over my upper body. I just take the day off. Okay, so I've learned not to become an exercise addict and take the day off. In fact, about a month ago, I took a whole week off. I took a whole week deload. I didn't do anything for one whole entire week. That's actually the first time I did that. I'm sad to say that was the first time I ever did 1 week, what they call a deload, where you just don't do anything, you don't train. I think I may have done a little aerobics or something, or cardio. But I actually took a whole week off because I was sore. I was really sore. I did some really intense isometric workouts. I did some intense isometric sets. I did some really intense exercise. I really went all out. And then the next day, I was so sore that I had DOMS for probably a good 3 days. And so I thought, well, if I'm this sore, I'm just going to take off, especially at age 60 or 61. So if you're an older person like me in their 50s or 60s or 70s or whatever, you learn how to listen to your body better than you did when you were younger, like in your 30s. When I was in my 30s or something, I would just go all out and lift and not care about recovery and I would just kill myself. I remember when I started to lift heavy weights in my mid-30s, I was just killing myself. And, you know, I think I don't think that's good, especially when you're older. Now I'm 60 or 61. It's all the more important that you listen to your body, take a day off if you need to take a day off, and don't feel guilty about it. I know people, friends and other people who go to the gym, and I know they feel guilty if they take the day off, or they feel guilty if they eat a Pop-Tart, or they feel guilty if they eat a chocolate bar, or a bowl of ice cream or something like that. I've learned I don't feel guilty about anything anymore. I don't beat myself up if I eat a bowl of ice cream. I don't beat myself up if I eat a chocolate bar. I don't beat myself up if I take 2 days off from training. Because that's all good. It's all about the long term. It's not about day to day. It's about the long term. So I've learned a lot of things over this past year about food intake, about what I'm eating, how much I'm eating. Like I said, I can track my calories almost exactly in my head. I don't need any app. That's a really, really good tool to have. Learn to count your calories without an app, and you will see progress. I promise you will see progress if you learn to count calories without an app. We're so reliant on apps nowadays. And, you know, once again, social media, you just go all around and everything's on apps. You know, like I saw one the other day where, you know, some trainer showed all the calories he burned that day and how many miles he ran that day. And this is ridiculous. You know, this is just showing off. It's just being an ego person. It's ego lifting. That's what social media has come to. So I'm not into that. I'm not into going to gyms and showing off. That's for 20 or 30 somethings. If you're a 60 something like me, you need to do it the smart way. It's going to take a little longer, but you'll do it smarter. Now, when you look at these two photos, the one on the left and the one on the right, you can see a huge, huge difference. I mean, yes, I still have the same genetics. I'm the same person. I have roughly the same body build, but you can see a V taper that began to appear. You can see my waist is thinner. You can see my traps and my shoulders have more muscle and more of an athletic look. You know, my whole portion up here from my shoulders up to the neck looks better. So you can see that the overall body composition, I really couldn't be more pleased than this. But remember, I'm 61. If you go to social media like TikTok or Instagram or something, this will look crappy. So if I showed this on Instagram, people would say, oh, that's no good, you know, because they all have the AI enhanced photos now, and it makes them look better than they are. But there's no enhancement here, and I don't take any drugs of any kind, no steroids, no HRT, no no testosterone or anything like that. I'm all 100% natural. The only thing I take is whey protein. I don't even take creatine. I stopped creatine. There were a couple weeks I remember in July and August, I started to take creatine, like I think it was 5 grams a day, or I worked myself up to that, like you're supposed to. I did creatine. It just makes me too bloated. And I've done this before. I did creatine, I remember in my 30s or so, when I first started lifting heavy weights again, you know, after high school. And I started a creatine cycle, and I noticed I became really just too puffy looking. I was puffy, very sarcoplasmic looking. I was puffy looking. I felt bloated, and I got bruises from creatine. I would wake up and I had a huge bruise, like after doing like lots of curls or something. I have a big bruise on my bicep or something, and so I quit creatine way back many years ago. But then I wanted to try it again to see if it would work again, but it didn't. It did not work. I cannot stand creatine. So I actually quit buying whey protein that has creatine in it. I'm not a fan of creatine. It just doesn't work for me. It makes me bloated. It makes me puffy looking. You can actually see my pictures on my website. There's like a few weeks where my pecs were really like pumped up. I had like really pumped up pecs. That's when I was on creatine. And I hate that look. I said, this looks terrible. I like looked like I had man boobs, you know. It's like man boobs and looked all puffy. And so I said, to hell with creatine. I'm not taking that anymore. So I quit creatine. So I don't take anything, just whey protein, no creatine, no testosterone, none of that. And I'm 61, and I made this kind of progress in 1 year. Now, if I can do it, perhaps you can do it too. So if you're interested in this sort of thing, join or subscribe to my Health and Fitness After 50 channel. You're invited to join me there. And you know, I have at the moment, I have almost 100 subscribers. So it's not a lot, but I do try to post on a regular basis various exercises that I do, and maybe what I'm eating or what I eat for the day, and that sort of thing. So I really enjoyed talking to you today about my progress over this last year, and I hope that it will bring you some enlightenment and it will help you out with your journey towards better health too. Also, I teach piano. So if you're interested in piano lessons, you can see the link below here, and you can sign up for piano with either me or my wife, Marilyn. And we have a waiting list for summer now. So let me know, and I can put you on our waiting list for summer piano lessons. So without any further ado, farewell, and until the next video.